Welcome to the Dropship Podcast, where you'll learn how to build and grow a high-ticket dropshipping business and hear stories from successful e-commerce entrepreneurs. Let's kick this thing off. Welcome back to the Dropship Podcast, another Tactical Tuesday episode. John, behind the scenes here, in a little inside baseball, John and I haven't recorded in like a month and a half, so I feel a little rusty, John. I'm not going to lie, but I'm glad to be back here recording again.
Yeah, we're back. Had a bit of time for, getting around at the start of the year, actually, January. That's when I tend to take a bit of time off because we have the long school holidays here in Australia. So, but we're back. We're back into it. And yeah, a little rusty, but it's always fun doing these, man. Always fun.
The beauty of, recording early and we cut up a Patreon, you guys got a lot of gold in the last few episodes, right? Like that contacting dropship suppliers from Patreon might be one of our best Patreons we ever did. We broke it up in the last 3 episodes, and we wanted to kind of switch it up today. We get a lot of questions from prospective students and, comments on YouTube or comments everywhere of like, what are the top reasons people fail at dropshipping? And so we were like, why don't we just make an episode out of this? Here's, some of the common things that John and I see the most.
Yeah. And, one of the great things I think about high ticket dropshipping is that there's only a few reasons why it wouldn't work. So the good news is if you avoid those, then, your chances are really good. But look, right from the start, I think the number one reason, and look, I've worked with hundreds and hundreds of people who have started one of these businesses, but the number one reason I see people fail, as it were, is simply because they quit. That's it. Number one reason, they quit. And there can be a number of reasons why, but usually what happens is they hit a challenge and, it's not one that they're willing, or sometimes it can be a knowledge gap, able to move past. And some people just, I guess, I don't know because it's not me, but some people must just feel that it's too much work to move past that. And so they don't. So, I think there's some other reasons as well, Ben. Imposter syndromes, I don't know if we've talked about this much on this show before, but I certainly know that's something you talk a lot about.
Yeah, I think, look, it falls right into that, right? You run into a challenge and you're like, who am I to be doing this? Or I'm not good enough, or I'm not smart enough. It all falls into the same thing. It's all mental blocks that we have. And look, your brain, your body is constantly looking for equilibrium. They want safety at all times. They don't want change. And so, pushing into things that are new, that are challenging, you're going to get a reason to quit. Think about if you've ever really tried to get into exercise before. And for all of you fucking runners out there that just run for fun, fuck you, first off. But for the rest of us here who really struggle at exercise, I think that's a majority of people. Look, I'm not trying to be mean to anybody who's out there improving themselves, but for the majority of us, you're arguing with yourself before you even start, when you start, while you're exercising. That's anything challenging in life is going to be that way. And so if you can push through those arguments in your head and just get past them, likely you'll turn around and realize that it wasn't that big a deal. But this happens a lot. We've talked about it on the show, right? Just choosing a niche or a market that you believe in can be challenging. One that, without arguing with yourself on whether this is going to be the one or not the one, right? And then calling suppliers. I know personally, I struggled for a while the first go around to actually make those phone calls, right? And so that's just a couple places in the beginning. There's multiple places throughout your journey, and there always will be. There's stuff that still comes up for me today where not necessarily I'm going to quit, but it's I don't really want to deal with that. And so maybe I don't for a little while, and I push it off until it's a big enough pain that you have to deal with it. And so I think you're right, John. The number one reason people don't continue is they quit, and just like everything that's challenging in life, anything worth having is going to be challenging. It's going to take work, and there's going to be many places along the way where you can just be like, you know what, I don't want to do this anymore. This is too tough.
I think it's good to realize and accept that. I think that it's going to happen, right? It happens to everybody. Everybody has challenges in their journey with dropshipping or business in general that they have to have the choice to either push through or not. And it can be different challenges for different people. Whether, maybe you have a cash flow problem, maybe you have, you get some big returns come in or something like that, or you have trouble with one of your suppliers, or, it can be any number of things, and not all of those things will happen to you, but at some point you're going to run into some challenges. And, it's, it's kind of like you have a choice. But I think for me, at least in my experience, I find that the more you push past those challenges, I'm not going to say it ever gets easy, but it gets easier. I think for me, I've certainly found it's kind of like a muscle. The more you exercise that, the easier it gets to kind of say, yep, okay, I know that this challenge I'm facing, it's temporary. It's not like, because I think sometimes when people hit a challenge like that, they're like, oh my God, it's all over. This is the end, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? But once you've gone through those big challenges a few times and you come out the other side, you kind of go, well, that actually wasn't that bad, right? It wasn't the end of the world, even though it kind of felt like it at the time. And I'm okay. Yeah, it sucked, but I'm okay. And now I can continue on my journey. I can refocus and keep going. And once you do that once or twice, I think when the next one appears on the horizon, you can kind of not feel good about it, because like I say, I don't think you ever feel good about it, but you're better equipped to deal with it when it happens.
Yeah, you slowly are able to insert a wedge there and just take a breath and realize that it's not the end of the world and that you can get through this stuff. And like you said, it's going to suck. Sometimes it really sucks. But that's life. Like, you got to continue. What else are you going to you're just going to shut it off and let time pass you by and play Call of Duty? Like, there's a life out there you want, and you just need to go get it.
Definitely.
You have cash flow on this sheet around they quit, John. What do you mean by that?
Well, I think, like, I've certainly seen it quite a few times, and it's even happened to me once or twice over the years that I've been in business. And once again, it can happen for a few different reasons, but cash flow problems can be particularly challenging. So what I mean by that is that your expenses and your incoming cash don't match up. Maybe you've got more going out than you've got coming in for a little while, and that can be really challenging for people, because they're like, oh, how am I going to pay my bills? What am I going to do? Should I just go back and get a job if you're working full time or whatever it might be? If you're full time on your business at that point. And like, people can run into that problem, in a number of different ways. For some people, particularly earlier on in their business experience, I think a lot of people get into that position because they don't have good bookkeeping practices in place. So they just don't understand what money is coming in and what money is going out at any given point in time. Like, they know there's money coming in and going out, but they're not able to see how that's balancing. And so they're actually going backwards, and they don't realize it. And they go so far backwards that it feels really hard to come back from that. And they just want to, the instinct is, when you see your money going backwards, is just to stop what you're doing, right? To stop it going further backwards. And so that's when people say, I'll just quit, and then I'll come back and fix that problem. Maybe it's on my credit card or something like that. I'll go and do something else to make some money, and I'll pay it off that way. And I'm glad I cut that off. And look, like I say, I think that feels really challenging for people, seeing that happening. And like, I speak from personal experience, of course. So yeah, that's a common one I see. So once again, actually, with a high ticket dropshipping business, the solution to that is actually fairly simple. You just need some really good basic bookkeeping in place from the start of your business, so that you're able to see what your position is. And once again, if there's a problem coming up, you'll be able to see it earlier and take steps to avoid it becoming a really big problem, without having to feel like you need to shut your business down and cut your losses and do all of that sort of stuff.
It's a muscle most people haven't exercised in their whole life. Like, I don't know what it's like in Australia, but they don't teach you how to balance your checkbook, which is that even a thing anymore? Anyway,
they
don't teach you how to balance your checkbook in school. You're not taught definitely not how to run a business and keep good books. And so, look, I remember being a fan of Shark Tank before I ever really started anything. And that's a common theme of every pitch. If someone doesn't know their numbers, they get fucking shredded, right? And so know your numbers. Like, there's nothing more important than that. And, if you're a member of our course, we had Isaac Smith come in there, who runs a bookkeeping agency, and build out a way for you to keep quality books and teach you how to do that. And man, I wish that was around when I started, John, because I didn't know what I was doing either. When I sold my first business, I had to go back and really recreate all of the books, because I had no idea what my numbers were. I knew I had more money in the bank at the end of the month than I did the last month, but that's about all I knew.
In the beginning as well, I was the same. I screwed it up in the beginning because I had nothing, and I didn't know even how to do it, because you're absolutely right. Nobody teaches you this stuff anywhere else in life, really. And yeah, that got me into a couple of holes, nothing too big that I couldn't get out of, but like places that I didn't need to go. If you're right, if that knowledge had been, or I had have known to go and look for it, I could have avoided, some of those things and sped up my progress, even more than it ended up being. So definitely I think that's a big one.
All right, reason number one, they quit. Number two, they don't follow a proven system for starting. That could be, choosing the right niche, choosing the right market, the right customer to serve. There's a lot of them in here, and look, I'm as guilty as the rest of us. If you're a Patreon member, check out the episode of Ben's Big L. You know what? Listen to the contacting suppliers part, and then follow that with Ben Big L, so you can hear me months later not listening to my own advice and making this mistake. Right? It's not. It's a reason that one of the businesses I started failed. In fact, the only business I've ever failed at. Great episode. If you're a Patreon member, if you want to be a Patreon member, check out Ben's Big L. Hey, just want to jump in here real quick and say, if you're loving this show, the number one thing you can do to help us out is simply go to Spotify or iTunes or whatever you're listening on and smash that follow button, that subscribe button, and leave us a review. It really does help us reach more people. And if you've got a friend that you know should be listening to this, send the podcast over to them. We'd love to have them join us as well. And real quick, 2 quick resources I have for you. If you want to join us in our free Facebook group, you can find that at facebook.com/groups/Dropship Tribe, or just search the Dropship Tribe. And we also have a paid version of this podcast where you can get even more of Jon and I and longer form content. You can find that on Patreon at patreon.com/Dropship Podcast. All right, back to the show.
Totally. I mean, this is another big one. There is really one way to start a high ticket dropshipping business. There is one way that works, right? There's a process you have to go through. If you try and make it up outside of that, or you don't, you try and invent new parts of that or whatever, or you just don't even follow anything at all. I mean, if you wake up, get out of bed one day and say, I'm going to start a high-ticket dropshipping business, and you just go at it, you're probably going to make mistakes. You're going to pick the wrong products to sell. You're going to pick the wrong type of customer to be focused on and to serve. And you can't undo that. You can't out-market that or anything like that later on in the business. It's just not going to work, right? If you've got... if you're trying to sell products that have way too much competition, for example, that you can't do that. There's just no way for you to fix that down the track, and you'll end up having to go back to square one and starting again. And so we'd call that a failure. So once again, the solution for that is really simple. Follow a process, follow a proven process. Find somebody who's done it before, and obviously, me and Ben, you're listening to this podcast. You're kind of doing that right now. There are other people out there as well, but find somebody who's done it before, who can share the process with you and follow it to the letter. Don't deviate from it. Do exactly what somebody tells you to do, and you won't have that problem.
Look,
that will not be a reason why your business fails.
This sounds like a pitch for a course, and I don't even want it to be that, because there's so much free information out there. I have no idea what episode number this is. It looks like we're on line 21 in the spreadsheet, so at least 20 free episodes out there from us. There's our Patreon, which has I want to say 25 or 30 episodes. There's our YouTube channel. All of this stuff is out there. We're literally trying to give this away. If you want somebody to actually hold your hand and walk you through this process, that's what our course is for. But look, we want you inside of there, but I don't want to make this sound like a pitch either. There's a way to get this wrong, right? There's a way for you to go listen to, the new flashy Lambo guru guy on TikTok who's got a list of niches for you, and likely they're all going to be garbage, right? E-bikes will probably be top of the list. Don't do that. Don't go start an e-bike store. It's not going to end well for you. As well as in Ben's Big L, I took on a business that I thought I could scale, but the customer was a nightmare. There's just certain people you may not want to serve, and it's going to give you a good reason to stop doing what you're doing if you have to deal with people that you don't want to talk to on a daily basis. And so, just follow a proven system. Whether that's a free source or a paid source, follow someone who's done it before. There's no reason for you to recreate the wheel. The wheel's been made for a long time, and so just go pay attention to someone who's got a good working wheel and make one just like them.
Absolutely. And the people who made the wheel messed up a bunch of times. So, if you try and make the wheel, you might get it right at some point, but you're going to mess up things as well. So just, what's the point? Avoid that at all costs. Save yourself the time, the stress, and get to where you want to be faster by following what works.
right down that same path. Reason number 3, that top reasons people fail at dropshipping is they don't have the right marketing strategy. Number 1 on that list for me is Google Ads. When you start, you're not going to get sales from organic listings. Nobody knows who you are. Your Facebook page with 2 likes isn't going to drive traffic to your business. Facebook ads aren't exactly what you should be running for high-ticket dropshipping, so that's not going to work. You need Google AdWords or Google Ads or whatever they're calling it nowadays, and you need to do it right. There's a right way to do it, and there's the way Google wants you to do it, I guess is how I would put it. You're not going to want to do it that way. The way Google wants you to do it, it's not going to work very well for high ticket products. You're not going to want to just set it up all willy-nilly based on a random blog you may have read. Like, there's a real way you should set this up. That I coined it the inverted funnel back in the day. I didn't invent it for sure, but it's a way to funnel keywords through your priorities. And so, like, again, going back to point number 2, follow a proven strategy on how to set up your Google Ads so that you're set up for success in the beginning, or you can blow a whole lot of money doing it wrong.
Yeah, totally. I mean, a dropshipping business is, in a large part, a marketing business. Like, you need to be good at, or somebody in your business needs to be good at marketing, but as Ben says, it needs to be the right marketing. So can't stress this enough. High ticket dropshipping requires a very specific marketing strategy. It's not the same as direct to customer e-commerce businesses. It's not the same as low ticket dropshipping. So if you're selling stuff from AliExpress, it's completely different to that. Yeah, there's a few things like that you would share between the two, like sending emails to your customers and that sort of thing. But social media ads doesn't work for high ticket dropshipping. Like, I'll just flat out say that. Don't even bother. That's a waste of time. Until maybe when you're really, really advanced and your business is growing really well, sure. There's a few things you can dabble in there, but for the most part, doesn't work. Waste of time, waste of money. And even, as Ben said, Google Ads, SEO, all that sort of stuff, there is a particular way of doing it. If you get that wrong, then once again, your business won't grow. Even if you chose the right products, you followed the right path for setting up your business, if you can't get those products in front of customers, the right customers at the right time, in the right way, then you'll have the great products, but they ain't going to sell.
Even if you get this part right, I'm not trying to give you a million reasons to not start here, but even if you get that right, you're targeting the right customer with the right keyword and getting them to your site at the right time. If your site's not optimized, if you've just copied and pasted stuff from your suppliers, you might get a sale or two, but you're not going to get all the sales you could get, which may lead to profitability issues that bring you back to point number 1, which give you a reason to quit. And so, marketing strategy is all of this stuff, right? We talked before the call, John, when you put SEO on here, I wasn't sure why you put it. Maybe you can explain why SEO, like not doing SEO at all, is very important, right? Google Ads don't always last forever. The good times don't always last forever, that's for sure.
That's right. Yeah, Google Ads are fantastic as a way to get your business started because the traffic comes on straight away and you in pretty decent amounts if you want it to be, and you can start making sales. You can start testing your website in front of real paying customers. You can find what works there, what doesn't work, learn a bunch of stuff about your business and make some sales. But the reality is there's a cost. The Google Ads cost money, and on dropshipping margins, it's not the most profitable way to make sales, but it is a good way to make some sales, right? But it's also a competitive landscape because it's the first place that everybody's going to go, right? Anybody else who starts a high-ticket dropshipping business is going to go to Google Ads first off, pretty much, as well as all the other competitors out there who sell the same type of product that aren't dropshipping. So what you can see often is that people will start with Google Ads and that's all they do. And they just keep running Google Ads for like 12 months, 18 months, 24 months, and things are going okay. And because things are going okay, they think, well, I'm not really going to focus on anything else. And then what happens one day is maybe the cost of the ads goes up and blows out their profitability, starts to reduce, increase the cost per sale, reduce their profitability, or it gets more competitive and it gets harder to find those sales there. And that person hasn't put any energy into any other part of they haven't added any other traffic sources to their marketing strategy. And so it's really hard at that point to start introducing new things because new things take time. And so what they see is their sales start dropping, their business kind of withers up a little bit. And they don't know what to do. And that leads to our first reason for businesses failing. They then quit, right? So Whereas, I mean, it's no secret on this podcast for sure. Me and Ben love SEO as one of the primary traffic sources for a high ticket dropshipping business. So you get your Google ads started and then start working on your SEO and then other things after that, so that you've got multiple traffic streams built into your business. So if something happens to one of them, say your Google ads start screwing up for some reason, you've got something else going on. Not to mention that SEO in the long run is a much more profitable traffic source to be operating on. So it's better for your business for that reason too. There's more traffic there, but yeah, Google ads is great in the beginning, but you can't rely on it in the long term. Just that.
I feel like they all circle back to reasons why people quit at dropshipping, right? Maybe we should change the title of this podcast.
They really do.
But it comes back to follow a proven system, really. Like, don't get left behind by not having a proven system as well as a community, right? Like, you might not need a course to do this, right? There's plenty of free information out there, but go find a group of people who are doing it so that when you have an issue, you can rely on them. And when they have an issue, they can rely on you, and you can hold each other accountable to moving forward in your businesses and also not quitting, right? If they, you have your weekly meeting on Fridays and you'd rather go out with your friends rather than go to that weekly meeting, like, they're going to hold you accountable, or they're going to tell you to get out, right? And so I would encourage you to find a proven system, whether that's free or paid, and find a community, whether that's free or paid, to, don't go at this alone, and don't go at it blind either. Don't try to reinvent the wheel.
Yeah. Look, for me, one of the easiest ways to avoid feeling that urge to stop doing what you're doing when you face a challenge is being able to talk to other people about the challenge you're facing. Because in doing that, you're going to see that other people have faced similar challenges, but you're also often going to have really great suggestions from other people about how you can move past it. Whereas if you're going it alone, right, and you face those challenges, it's really tough. And this is usually not the sort of stuff that you can talk to your best friend about, or your wife, or your girlfriend, or your kids, or whoever significant you have in your life, because most of those people are not in business. They're not going to be in business, and they're not really going to understand what you're experiencing. So it can be a lonely spot. But if you've got a little network, you're part of a little community of some sort, there will be other people who have faced all of the challenges that you're facing before, or right now, sorry. And you can get a lot of support to help you move past those and avoid that chance that you're going to quit out.
Thanks for listening to the Dropship Podcast. You can find all the show notes for this episode at dropshippodcast.com. And if you're ready to take the next step in your dropshipping journey, we invite you to join us inside Dropship Breakthrough, where Jon and I will walk you through step by step in starting your own high-ticket dropshipping e-commerce business. But that's not all. Dropship Breakthrough will also teach you everything you'll need to know to grow your business and take it to the next level. So head over to dropshipbreakthrough.com and sign up for our free training that will help you take the first steps towards building and growing your own profitable high-ticket dropshipping business.